Today's lesson is on solving inequalities using multiplication and division. First, we'll look at our key idea for multiplication and division properties of inequality. If you multiply or divide each side of an inequality by the same positive number, the inequality remains true. So if we start with -6 is less than 8, and we want to multiply each side by 2, we're going to have -12 is less than 16. If we have 6 is greater than -8, and we want to divide each side by 2, we're going to have that 3 is greater than -4. If we look at this with algebra, if we have x divided by 2 is less than -9, and we multiply each side by 2, we'll have that x is less than -18. And if we have 4x is greater than -12, and we want to divide each side by 4, we'll have that x is greater than -3. These properties are also true for less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. For our first example, we're solving an inequality using multiplication. So we're going to solve x divided by 8 is greater than -5, and then we're going to graph the solution. In this problem, if we're dividing by 8, we're going to multiply by 8 to solve. When we multiply each side by 8, we get that x is greater than -40. To graph this, we're going to put an open circle at -40, and the numbers that are greater than -40 would be numbers on the right, so we'll shade to the right. Now we have an additional example. You can pause the video and try it on your own, or you may follow along. Solve the inequality and graph the solution. So for number 1, we have a divided by 2 is less than 4. We're dividing by 2 in the problem, so we're going to multiply by 2 to solve. So we have a divided by 2 times 2 would be less than 4 times 2. On the left-hand side, we're just going to have a, and then that would be less than 8. Now we're going to graph our solution, so we'll have 8, and then 9, and 10 on our number line, and then to the left we'd have 7 and 6. At 8, we would have an open circle, because it is less than, and the numbers that are less than 8 would be the numbers on the left, so we'll shade to the left. Now for number 2, we have n divided by 7 is greater than or equal to -1. In order to solve this inequality, we're going to multiply both sides by 7. So now we're going to have that n is greater than or equal to -7. So now we'll go ahead and graph. So we have -7, and then -6, and -5. And then on the left-hand side, we'd have -8 and -9. At -7, we'll have a closed circle because we have greater than or equal to. And then the numbers that are greater than or equal to -7 will be numbers on the right. So we'll shade to the right. For number 3, we have -6 and 4/10 is greater than or equal to w divided by 5. In order to solve, we're going to be multiplying both sides by 5. 5 times -6 and 4/10 is -32. So we have -32 is greater than or equal to w. We can also write this as w is less than or equal to -32. So now for our number line, we're going to have -32, and then we can have -31 and -30, and then to the left we can have -33 and -34. At -32, we're going to have a closed circle, and the numbers that are less than or equal to -32 would be the numbers on the left, so we'll shade to the left. For our second example, we're solving an inequality using division. Solve 3x is less than or equal to -24 and graph the solution. So for this inequality, we're going to divide both sides by 3. When we divide both sides by 3, we're going to get that x is less than or equal to -8. Now we're going to graph the solution. We will have a closed circle at -8 because it's less than or equal to, and the numbers less than or equal to -8 would be the numbers on the left, so we'll shade to the left. Now we have an additional example. You can pause the video and try it on your own, or you may follow along. Solve the inequality and graph the solution. For number 4, we have 4b is greater than or equal to 36. We're going to divide both sides by 4 to solve this inequality. So we'll get that b is greater than or equal to 9. Now we need to graph our inequality, so we'll have 9, and then 10, and 11, and then to the left we would have 8 and 7. So at 9 we will have a closed circle because it's greater than or equal to, and the numbers greater than or equal to would be numbers on the right, so we'll shade to the right. For number 5, we have 2k is greater than -10. We're going to divide by 2 to solve this inequality, so we'll get that k is greater than -5. So now on our number line, we have -5, -4, and -3, and then we'd have -6 on the left, and then -7. So at -5, we're going to have an open circle because it's greater than, and the numbers greater than -5 would be the numbers on the right. And now for number 6, we have -18 is greater than 1 5/10 times q. To solve, we're going to divide each side by 1 5/10. And -18 divided by 1 5/10 is -12. So we'll get that -12 is greater than q, or we can say q is less than -12. So now on our number line we have -12, -11, and -10, and then to the left we'd have -13 and -14. So at -12 we'll have an open circle because it's less than, and the numbers less than -12 will be the numbers on the left. Now we'll look at another key idea for multiplication and division properties of inequality. If you multiply or divide each side of an inequality by the same negative number, the direction of the inequality symbol must be reversed for the inequality to remain true. So if you look at our numbers, if we have -6 is less than 8, and we want to multiply each side by -2, we're going to have that 12 is greater than -16. You notice that we had to flip the inequality symbol. We had to reverse the direction of it. If you have 6 is greater than -8, and we want to divide each number by -2, we would have that -3 is less than 4. Once again, we had to reverse the inequality symbol. Now if we look at algebra, if we have x divided by -6 is less than 3, if we multiply both sides by -6, our answer would be x is greater than -18. And if we have -5x is greater than 30, to solve this we would divide by -5, and when we do this, we'll get that x is less than -6. On both of these examples, we had to reverse our inequality symbol for this to remain true. These properties are also true for less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. For our third example, we're solving an inequality using multiplication. We're going to solve y divided by -3 is greater than 2, and then graph the solution. When we solve this inequality, we're going to multiply both sides by -3. When we do this, since we're multiplying by a negative, we have to reverse the inequality symbol. So now we're going to have less than. So our answer would be y is less than -6. When we graph this inequality, we'd have an open circle at -6, and the numbers to the left are less than -6, so we'll shade to the left. For our fourth example, we're solving an inequality using division. We're going to solve -7y is less than or equal to -35, and then we'll graph our solution. When we solve this, we're going to divide each side by -7. Since we're dividing by a negative, we need to reverse our inequality symbol, so now we're going to have greater than or equal to. So y is greater than or equal to 5. When we graph our solution, we'll have a closed circle at 5, and then we'll shade to the right because the numbers to the right are greater than or equal to 5. Now we have an additional example. You can pause the video and try it on your own, or you may follow along. So for number 7, we have P divided by -4 is less than 7. To solve this, we're going to multiply each side by -4. So we'll have P divided by -4, and we're going to multiply by -4. When we multiply by -4, that means we need to reverse our inequality symbol. So now we have this greater than 7 times -4. So our answer would be P is greater than -28. So on our number line, we'll have -28, -27, and -26. And then to the left, we have -29 and -30. We'll have an open circle at -28, and the numbers greater than -28 would be on the right. So we'll shade to the right. For number 8, we have X divided by -5 is less than or equal to -5. To solve this inequality, we're going to multiply both sides by -5. So we'll multiply by -5. When we do that, we need to reverse our inequality symbol. So we'll have is greater than or equal to, and then we'll have -5 times -5. On the left-hand side, we have X. So we have X is greater than or equal to 25. So now on our number line, we'll have 25, and then to the right, 26 and 27, and then to the left, 24 and 23. At 25, we will have a closed circle because we have greater than or equal to, and the numbers greater than or equal to are the numbers on the right. So we'll shade to the right. Now we're going to continue our additional examples for 3 and 4. You can continue to work on your own, or you can follow along. So for number 9, we have -2r is greater than or equal to -22. We're going to divide both sides by -2. So when we write out our inequality, we have -2r. If we're going to divide by -2, we're then going to need to reverse our inequality symbol to less than or equal to. And then we're going to have -22 divided by -2. So r would be less than or equal to 11. Now we'll graph, so we'll have 11, and then 12 and 13, and then we'll have 10 and 9 on the left. We will then have a closed circle at 11, and the numbers to the left are less than 11, so we'll shade to the left. And then for number 10, we have -4/10 times y is greater than or equal to -12. We're going to divide both sides by -4/10. So we're going to have -4/10 y divided by -4/10. We're going to flip our inequality symbol to less than or equal to. Then we'll have -12 divided by -4/10. So we're going to have that y is less than or equal to 30. So now we're going to graph. So we have 30, 31, and 32 on our number line, and to the left we'd have 29 and 28. We'll have a closed circle at 30, and the numbers that are less than or equal to 30 would be on the left, so we'll shade to the left. Don't forget to fill out your notes. Remember to watch the video again if needed.